We're going to do that imagine this scenario thing, right? It's very advanced, but I've been doing TV for almost a year now, so I think I know what I'm doing here. But here, I want you to imagine this, okay? I want you to imagine there are pro-life rallies in this city. And all of a sudden, these pro-life rallies, first or second night, get a little violent. Man, they're marching down to Planned Parenthood and they're shattering windows. Geez, a couple people are dying. That's not good. And then the next night, it's in another city. And then the next night, it's in 5 more cities. And these Planned Parenthoods are getting firebombed. And it's just an absolute disaster. And then people march up at a pro-life rally at a major U.S. city, let's call it Chicago, and they overrun City Hall. I don't mean they stood on the steps. I don't mean they walked inside. I mean they showed up. All these pro-lifers showed up at City Hall afterwards. They kicked in the door, stormed in, took over the building, and then took over about 5 or 6 city blocks inside of Chicago. Then they put fencing up around these city blocks, kicked out all the police who left, and seized complete operational control of several blocks of the city of Chicago. You got that mental image in your head? Now, I want you to imagine this. How would that be covered now? Not just by the American media, by the media in the furthest reaches of the globe. How would they cover a pro-life group seizing operational control of a large portion of a major American city? What would the calls be? Well, on top of the coverage, what would people be? Would they call for bombings? I would not put it outside of the realm of possibility. They would call for the United States Air Force to be dropping napalm in. They dang sure would be calling for troops to storm the place. What's happening in America? These people, everybody needs to go to jail. Not only everybody who's there, everyone behind it. This is a domestic terrorist group. Can you imagine what the coverage? It would be wall to wall. Forget about the regular news shows. Forget about the daytime, female gossip talk shows you love, cable news shows. They would interrupt regularly scheduled programming, your favorite sitcom, to give you an update on the fact a right-wing pro-life group seized operational control of a major American city. And you know what the craziest thing about all that is? That's happening right now. In the United States of America, a left-wing group, after left-wing groups have looted and murdered and burned all across this nation, a left-wing group in the city of Seattle has seized operational control of several blocks, fenced it off. They've declared it their own nation. They're actually attempting to farm, which is really hilarious, by the way. They've seized control of Seattle. I'm not making that up. They're calling it the autonomous zone, which is actually really, really freaking hilarious that it's the autonomous zone. I'm not even sure. I mean, if you're going to try to go out like this, at least go out with some kind of catchy name. Be serious with that. But everything I just described to you is happening now. Now, let me ask you something. How often have you even heard it? Is the first time just now? If not the first time, you've maybe, seen it brought up once or twice on the news? Go flip through. As soon as this show's done, do a quick flip through before you come right back to the first. On every other news channel, tell me who's actually covering it at that exact moment you go through. You see, the reason our media is so broken, part of the reason they're so broken, it's not just what they cover, it's what they don't cover. It's the same as our educators in this country. I've been having extensive talks with my kids about school and what they learn in school and what to watch out for. And what I've told them is, your teacher, because we've lost our education system, right? And what I've told my kids are, your teacher's not going to stand up in front of you, at least until you get to college, and say, America sucks, and you all better learn that America sucks. No, here's what happens in school. They stand up in front of you. They got to start slow, right? And they tell you, well, America's slavery. Oh, we killed the Indians. And then civil rights. All right, that's it for America. Glad you all learned about it. Well, what would you think? That'd be like me describing my son as, my son, oh, he smells and he spills stuff all the time. Well, that doesn't sound like a very nice person. We have a broken American press. This should be the only story on every news channel. There should be an outcry from every single American because the media coverage is so intense, making sure this gets put down. But that's what I've been telling you about how you and I are now the minority, about how you are going to have to accept a brand new reality for your life in America. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean, it's not great, but it's just a matter of adjusting your thinking. You're a minority. The press has always been left. Education has been left for decades. Hollywood's been left for decades. It's been left. But now it's so left and it's so entrenched, they can now invent narrow narratives like police racism. They can invent it virtually out of the blue and have mass quantities of the population believe it because they get everyone on board with the lie like that. You get all the leftist activist groups on board with the lie. You get Hollywood on board with the lie. All your other media brothers are on board with the lie. The college professors are on board with the lie. Once you're that entrenched, you can just turn it on and turn it off like a light switch. And that's what you're seeing. We've lost operational control, not just of Seattle. We've lost it of America. And it's time to start adjusting the way you think. Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me.